There comes a time when life dares you to shrink back, to fold under the pressure, and to cower in the face of adversity. But today I'm here to tell you something life doesn't expect you to know. You are built for this. Every storm that was supposed to break you is just an opportunity to prove how unshakable you truly are. You don't have to flinch, falter, or second guess, because you were created to stand tall, to press forward, and to shine even when the weight of the world tries to dim your light. The truth is, when you act as if nothing bothers you, it doesn't mean the storm stopped raging. It means you've decided that the storm will not control your response. That kind of strength, it's already inside of you, waiting for you to unleash it. Distractions are inevitable, but they are not invincible. They show up in many forms, some loud and obvious, others subtle and seductive, but their purpose is always the same: to pull you away from what truly matters. They arrive disguised as emergencies, as opinions, as doubts, and even as opportunities that seem too good to pass up. But at their core, distractions are simply bait. And the thing about bait is this: it's only effective when you bite. To not take the bait of distraction is to master the art of focus. It means learning to discern what deserves your energy and what doesn't. Every time you allow a distraction to consume your attention, you rob yourself of the momentum needed to reach your goals. This is why distractions can feel so dangerous. They're thieves in disguise, stealing your time, your energy, and your clarity, all while you're too preoccupied to notice. But here's the good news: you have the power to stop them in their tracks. Think about the bait that comes in the form of negativity. It could be someone's careless words, a critical comment, or an unwelcome opinion. It's tempting to engage, to defend yourself, or to set the record straight. But every second you spend doing that is a second you're not investing in your purpose. When you take that bait, you're giving control of your emotions to someone else. You're letting their words dictate your actions, your peace, and your progress. Refusing to engage doesn't make you weak, it makes you wise. It shows that you understand the value of your time and the importance of your energy. Every battle isn't worth fighting, and every comment doesn't deserve a response. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is let the noise pass by without giving it the dignity of your attention. Distractions also show up in the form of opportunities that seem aligned with your vision, but are in reality detours in disguise. These are the things that look good but aren't necessarily good for you. Not every open door is meant to be walked through, and not every invitation is worth accepting. When you know your purpose, you gain the clarity to evaluate opportunities through a lens of intentionality. Will this take me closer to my goal, or will it pull me off course? Is this aligned with my values, or is it a shiny object that's only going to waste my time? These are the questions you must ask yourself. When you have a clear sense of where you're going, it becomes easier to say no to anything that doesn't serve that path. Remember, saying no to one thing often means saying yes to the things that truly matter. Another form of distraction comes from within. It's the inner critic, the voice of doubt, the fear of failure, and the urge to procrastinate. These internal distractions can be just as potent as external ones, if not more so. They creep in when you're on the verge of breakthrough, whispering lies that make you question your worth, your abilities, and your potential. But just like external distractions, these inner voices are bait. They're trying to lure you into a cycle of hesitation, self-sabotage, and stagnation. The key is to recognize them for what they are: temporary thoughts, not ultimate truths. You have the power to silence those voices by speaking truth over yourself. Remind yourself of your purpose, your progress, and your potential. Affirm your worth, even when your emotions try to tell you otherwise. When you stand firm in your identity, the bait of self-doubt loses its power. Social media, technology, and the constant stream of information in today's world also serve as major distractions. They tempt you with the promise of connection and entertainment, but often leave you feeling drained and scattered. It's easy to get lost in the scroll, to compare your journey to someone else's highlight reel, and to feel like you're falling behind. But what would happen if you chose to reclaim that time? What if you set boundaries around your screen time, unfollowed accounts that don't inspire you, and intentionally chose to focus on your own journey? The time and mental space you gain could be redirected toward creating, building, and growing. Don't let the virtual world view of your real world potential. Ultimately, not taking the bait of distraction is about discipline. It's about deciding every single day to stay focused on what matters most. It's understanding that your energy is a finite resource and that where you invest it will determine the course of your life. You have to learn to guard your focus as if it's your most valuable asset, because it is. It's the foundation of your growth, your progress, and your ability to fulfill your purpose. So when distractions come, and they will pause and ask yourself, is this worth my time? Is this worth my energy? Is this helping me move closer to my goals, or is it pulling me further away? When you ask those questions, you'll find that most distractions aren't nearly as important as they seem in the moment. They're simply noise designed to test your ability to stay the course. And when you pass that test, you prove to yourself and the world that you are unshakable. Remember, the bait only works if you bite, so don't bite. Stay focused, stay intentional, and stay committed to your purpose. Every time you choose not to engage with a distraction, you're making room for something greater, something that truly deserves your time, your energy, and your heart. Feel it, but don't feed it. Emotions are a natural part of life. They come and go like waves, sometimes crashing in with full force and other times gently ebbing away. The truth is, it's okay to feel the weight of what you're going through. It's okay to acknowledge when you're frustrated, disappointed, angry, or hurt. Pretending you're unaffected by life's challenges isn't strength, it's avoidance. True strength is found in allowing yourself to feel, but refusing to let those emotions control or consume you. That's where the power lies. You feel it, but you don't feed it. When emotions arise, they're often our mind's way of signaling that something matters. Frustration may indicate that you're facing obstacles in pursuit of something you care deeply about. Anger might arise when you feel disrespected or treated unfairly. Sadness can point to a loss or a longing for something that once brought you joy. These feelings are valid, but they're not meant to dominate your actions or dictate your future. Acknowledging them is important, but nurturing them, feeding them, can trap you in a cycle of negativity that keeps you stuck. To feel it, but don't feed it, is to acknowledge your emotions without letting them take the wheel. It's giving yourself the space to process what you're experiencing without allowing those feelings to derail your purpose. Feeding an emotion means dwelling on it, replaying the scenario over and over in your mind, and giving it the power to shape your perspective and decisions. It's like adding fuel to a fire. It grows bigger, stronger, and harder to control. And often that fire burns not only you, but the people and opportunities around you. Take anger, for example. It's okay to feel angry when someone has wronged you, but when you feed that anger by ruminating on what happened, by seeking revenge, or by lashing out, you're only amplifying its power over you. Anger, when unchecked, can cloud your judgment, sabotage relationships, and lead to regret. Instead, feel the anger, name it, understand why it's there, then redirect that energy into something constructive. Channel it into your work, your growth, or even into setting boundaries that protect your peace. By doing this, you turn an emotion that could have consumed you into fuel for progress. The same applies to sadness or disappointment. It's natural to feel down when things don't go as planned. But feeding that sadness by isolating yourself, replaying failures, or dwelling on what could have been only deepens the emotional wound. Instead, acknowledge the feeling, give yourself permission to grieve if necessary, but don't allow it to linger indefinitely. When you feel it but don't feed it, you're choosing to process and release the emotion rather than letting it fester. You're making room for hope, for healing, and for a brighter perspective to emerge. Even fear, one of the most paralyzing emotions, can be felt without being fed. Fear often shows up as a warning sign, reminding us of potential risks or dangers. But feeding fear by obsessing over worst-case scenarios, hesitating to take action, or letting doubt control your decisions only magnifies its grip on you. Feel the fear, but don't let it become the story you live by. Recognize its presence, assess the risk, and then take a step forward despite it. Courage isn't the absence of fear, it's the decision to move forward even when fear is present. One of the most powerful ways to avoid feeding your emotions is by shifting your perspective. Instead of focusing on the problem, focus on the solution. Instead of replaying what went wrong, envision what could go right. Gratitude is a particularly effective antidote to negative emotions. When you take time to reflect on the things you're grateful for, it becomes harder to feed feelings of anger, sadness, or fear. Gratitude redirects your focus from what's lacking to what's abundant, creating a mental and emotional shift that uplifts your spirit. It's also important to remember that you are not your emotions. Just because you feel anger, fear, or sadness doesn't mean you are an angry, fearful, or sad person. Emotions are temporary experiences. They come and go like passing clouds. They don't define you unless you let them. When you choose not to feed your emotions, you reclaim your power. You remind yourself that you are in control of your actions, regardless of how you feel in the moment. Practicing mindfulness can help you master this balance. Mindfulness allows you to observe your emotions without judgment, like an impartial witness. It creates a space between the emotion and your reaction, giving you time to choose your response. Instead of reacting impulsively, you can respond intentionally. This is the essence of feeling it, but not feeding it. You acknowledge the emotion, sit with it for a moment, and then decide how to move forward in a way that aligns with your values and goals. Remember, emotions are just visitors. They're not meant to unpack their bags and take up permanent residence in your life. You have the power to decide which ones get to stay and which ones must go. By feeling your emotions without feeding them, you're breaking free from the cycle of emotional reactivity. You're reclaiming your peace, your focus, and your ability to move forward with clarity and purpose. So the next time emotions come rushing in, don't run from them or suppress them. Feel them, acknowledge them, but don't let them take over. You are stronger than your feelings. They don't control you, you control them. By mastering this, you position yourself to rise above challenges with grace and resilience, no matter what comes your way. Stand on your history with victory. There's something powerful about looking back and realizing just how far you've come. When life tries to knock you down, when challenges feel insurmountable, and when doubt starts to creep in, it's easy to lose sight of your strength. That's when you need to remind yourself of one undeniable truth: you've been here before. You faced battles you thought you couldn't win, walked through storms you thought you couldn't survive, and climbed mountains that seemed impossible to scale. But here you are still standing. That's not by accident. That's proof of your resilience, your grit, and your ability to overcome. And that is your history with victory. Your history with victory is a record of every challenge you've conquered, every setback you've turned into a setup for something greater, and every time you refuse to give up. It's easy to focus on the struggles ahead, but don't forget to stand on the foundation of what you've already endured and triumphed over. Each victory, no matter how small, is a reminder that you are more capable than you often give yourself credit for. You've proven to yourself time and time again that you have what it takes to rise above. Sometimes life has a way of making you forget just how much you've overcome. The current problem may feel like it's bigger, harder, or more intimidating than anything you've faced before. But take a moment to reflect. Look back at those times when you felt overwhelmed, when you thought this might be the thing that breaks me. What happened? You made it through. It wasn't easy, and it didn't always go the way you planned, but you survived. You adapted. You grew. And if you did it then, you can do it now. Standing on your history with victory means choosing to focus on what you've already achieved rather than what you fear might go wrong. It's grounding yourself in the evidence of your strength rather than the uncertainty of your circumstances. The battles you've won are not just memories, they are proof that you're equipped to face whatever comes next. They're a reminder that every storm you've weathered has made you stronger, wiser, and more prepared for the challenges ahead. It's important to realize that victories don't always look the way we expect them to. Sometimes victory is loud in public, a promotion, a win, a goal achieved, but other times victory is quiet and deeply personal. It's deciding to get back up after a setback. It's choosing to forgive when bitterness felt easier. It's finding hope in the middle of despair. Don't dismiss these quiet victories. They're just as important, if not more so, because they shape who you are and how you show up in the world. Your history with victory also includes the lessons you've learned along the way. Even the challenges that didn't end the way you wanted taught you something valuable. Maybe you learned the importance of perseverance, the strength of humility, or the power of resilience. Those lessons are victories in their own right because they equip you to handle what's next with greater wisdom and clarity. When you stand on your history with victory, you're declaring that your past struggles do not define you, your triumphs do. You're saying, I am not my failures. I am the sum of every time I've overcome. This mindset shifts how you approach obstacles. Instead of seeing them as threats, you begin to see them as opportunities to add to your record of victory. You face them with confidence because you know your history says, I've handled hard things before and I can handle this too. This confidence is not arrogance, it's faith. It's faith in yourself, faith in your resilience, and faith in the process. It's trusting that the same strength that carried you through before will carry you through again. When you stand on your history with victory, you're not denying the difficulty of your current situation. You're simply refusing to let it overshadow the evidence and appearance of your ability to persevere. The beauty of standing on your history with victory is that it doesn't just benefit you, it inspires others. When people see you walking with the confidence of someone who knows their strength, it encourages them to reflect on their own victories. Your story becomes a testimony, a reminder to others that they too have what it takes to overcome. Your resilience becomes a ripple effect, spreading hope and courage wherever you go. So the next time you feel overwhelmed by the challenges in front of you, take a moment to pause and look back. Remind yourself of what you've already conquered. Think about the times when you thought you wouldn't make it, but somehow you did. Let those victories remind you of who you are: a fighter, a survivor, a conqueror. Stand firmly on that foundation because it's unshakable. It's the truth of your journey, and it's the fuel you need to keep moving forward. Remember, your history with victory is more than a record of what you've survived. It's a testament to your strength, your courage, and your potential. You've been tested before and you've risen above. That's who you are, and that's who you'll continue to be. Stand tall, knowing that your past victories are the proof that you're more than capable of winning the battles ahead. Keep moving, keep believing, and keep standing on the unshakable foundation of your history with victory. You can't control it, but you can conquer it. Life is filled with circumstances and situations that are beyond your control. The timing of an opportunity, the opinions of others, the unexpected challenges that throw your plans off course, these are things you can't dictate. It's frustrating to feel powerless in the face of uncertainty, and it's tempting to get stuck asking, why is this happening to me? But here's the truth. While you may not be able to control what happens to you, you absolutely can control how you respond to it. You can't control it, but you can conquer it. Conquering something doesn't mean pretending it doesn't exist or brushing it aside. Conquering begins with acknowledging the reality of the situation, facing it head on, and refusing to let it define or defeat you. Conquering is an internal decision before it's ever an external victory. It's deciding that no matter what comes your way, you will rise above it. That decision is where your power lies, not in controlling the uncontrollable, but in mastering your mindset in your response. Think about the storms you faced in your life. You didn't choose them. You didn't plan for them, but you endured them, you adapted, you grew, and you learned to navigate through them. That's the essence of conquering. It's resilience in action. It's the ability to keep moving forward even when the path isn't clear. You may not have had the power to stop the storm, but you discovered the strength to survive it. That's what makes you a conqueror. It's important to understand that the things you can't control are not your responsibility. You don't have to fix what isn't yours to fix. You don't have to carry the weight of other people's opinions, expectations, or actions. What you are responsible for is your attitude, your perspective, and your choices. These are the tools you use to conquer the challenges in front of you. When you focus on what you can control, you take back your power. You stop wasting energy on things that are outside of your influence and start using that energy to create solutions, find clarity, and take purposeful steps forward. Sometimes what you can't control feels overwhelming. Maybe it's a diagnosis, a financial setback, or a relationship that didn't turn out the way you hoped. It's natural to feel hurt, frustrated, or even defeated in those moments. But here's the key: don't let that feeling linger too long. Acknowledge it, process it, and then remind yourself that your story isn't over. The situation may feel bigger than you, but it's not bigger than the strength, courage, and resilience you carry within you. You have the power to conquer, not by changing the situation, but by changing how you move through it. Conquering doesn't happen overnight. It's a process that often requires patience, perseverance, and faith. You may stumble and you may feel like giving up at times, but each step forward is a victory. Each time you choose hope over despair, action over stagnation, and faith over fear, you're proving to yourself that you are capable of overcoming. Conquering isn't about perfection, it's about persistence. It's about showing up for yourself even when it's hard and refusing to let the uncontrollable hold you back. One of the most powerful ways to conquer what you can't control is to shift your perspective. Instead of asking, why is this happening to me? Ask, what can I learn from this? Or how can I grow through this? When you shift your mindset from victimhood to empowerment, you unlock possibilities you didn't see before. You start to view challenges as opportunities for growth rather than roadblocks. This doesn't mean minimizing the difficulty of what you're facing. It means choosing to see yourself as someone who can rise above it. Another key to conquering is embracing gratitude. Even in the midst of chaos, there is always something to be grateful for. Gratitude doesn't a difficulty, but it shifts your focus from what's missing to what's present. It reminds you that even though you can't control everything, you still have blessings, strengths, and resources to lean on. Gratitude strengthens your resilience and helps you maintain hope even in tough times. Conquering what you can't control also requires letting go of what doesn't serve you. Let go of the need to have all the answers. Let go of the pressure to meet everyone's expectations. Let go of the fear of failure and embrace the truth that trying and growing is more important than perfection. Sometimes conquering is as much about surrender as it is about action. It's about releasing the weight of what you can't change so you can fully focus on what you can. Remember, conquering isn't about winning every battle. It's about refusing to be defeated by the things you can't control. It's about showing up for yourself no matter what life throws your way. You may not be able to stop the storm, but you can anchor yourself so it doesn't sweep you away. You may not be able to control the outcome, but you can control your effort, your faith, and your determination. So when life throws you something you can't control, remind yourself of this. You have faced challenges before and you've come out stronger. You are not defined by what happens to you, but by how you choose to respond. You are not powerless in the face of the uncontrollable. You are a conqueror capable of rising above it all. You may not be able to control it, but you can and you will conquer it. Keep pushing forward. The victory is already in you. Keep it moving. Moving. Life has a way of throwing obstacles in your path, testing your patience and challenging your resolve. Whether it's setbacks, disappointments, or moments when you feel stuck, the temptation to stop and dwell in those moments can be overwhelming. But here's the truth. You can't let life's challenges paralyze you. No matter how tough things get, you have to keep it moving. Keep it moving isn't just a phrase, it's a mindset. It's the decision to push forward even when the road feels uncertain. It's refusing to let delays, doubts, or difficulties hold you hostage. Life doesn't stop moving, and neither should you. Yes, there will be times when you need to pause, catch your breath, and regroup, but a pause is not the same as giving up. Pausing is temporary, but progress is essential. When you face a setback, it's easy to focus on what went wrong. You might replay the failure in your mind, question your worth, or wonder if you'll ever recover. But dwelling on the past doesn't change it. What changes your future is your ability to move forward. Keeping it moving doesn't mean you ignore the pain or pretend everything is fine. It means you refuse to let that pain anchor you in place. It means choosing progress over stagnation, even if that progress feels small or slow. Sometimes moving forward requires leaving behind the things that no longer serve you. Whether it's toxic relationships, limiting beliefs, or old habits, you have to let go of what's holding you back. This isn't always easy. Letting go can feel like losing a part of yourself, but it's necessary for growth. You can't step into your next chapter if you're clinging to the last one. Keeping it moving means trusting that what's ahead is greater than what's behind, even if you can't see it yet. Life's challenges can feel heavy, but remember, you don't have to carry everything at once. Break it down. Take one step, then another. Focus on what you can do today in this moment. You don't have to have all the answers or see the entire path ahead. Sometimes keeping it moving is simply about taking the next step, no matter how small. Progress isn't always dramatic. It's often found in the quiet persistence of showing up and doing the work. Keeping it moving also requires resilience, the ability to bounce back after setbacks. Resilience doesn't mean you won't feel discouraged or frustrated. It means you choose not to stay in that space. It's the belief that no matter how hard life hits, you have the strength to rise again. Resilience is built every time you decide to keep moving, even when it's hard. It's in those moments of perseverance that you discover just how strong you are. Another key to keeping it moving is maintaining perspective. Challenges are temporary, but the lessons they teach can be lasting. When you're in the middle of a tough season, it's easy to feel like it will never end. But seasons change, and so will your circumstances. What feels overwhelming today will one day be a memory, a chapter in your story, not the whole book. Keeping it moving means remembering that brighter days are ahead, even if you can't see them right now. Faith plays a big role in this mindset. Faith in yourself, faith in your journey, and faith that things will get better. When you keep moving, even in the face of uncertainty, you're demonstrating faith that the effort will be worth it. You're showing trust in the process and in your ability to overcome whatever comes your way. Faith doesn't mean you won't have doubts. It means you keep moving despite them. It's also important to surround yourself with people who encourage you to keep moving. There will be moments when you feel stuck, tired, or ready to give up. That's when the voices around you matter most. Surround yourself with those who remind you of your strength, your worth, and your potential. Let their encouragement fuel your determination to keep going. And when you've regained your strength, be that voice for someone else. Help them keep it moving too. Keeping it moving doesn't mean rushing through life or ignoring the present. It means staying in motion even when the journey is difficult. It's about taking deliberate steps forward, no matter how small, and trusting that those steps are leading you somewhere meaningful. It's a commitment to growth, resilience, and faith in your ability to overcome. So no matter what you're facing, keep it moving. Don't let fear, failure, or frustration stop you. Keep moving through the challenges, through the doubts, and through the unknown. The only way to reach your destination is to keep going. You may not be where you want to be yet, but as long as you're moving, you're closer than you were yesterday. Keep it moving because your breakthrough is on the other side of your perseverance. Keep it moving because your story is far from over. Keep it moving because the best is still ahead. Your progress is greater than your perfection. Too often we get caught up in the idea that everything we do must be flawless, that success is only worth celebrating if it comes without mistakes, missteps, or delays. But life isn't about achieving perfection, it's about making progress. Progress is messy. It's imperfect. It's filled with moments of doubt, trial, and error, yet every small step forward, no matter how uneven, is evidence that you're growing, learning, and evolving. Your progress might not look like someone else's. It might not come at the pace you imagine, but it's still yours. It's still valuable. Perfection is a myth, a distraction that keeps you focused on what you lack instead of what you're building. Progress, on the other hand, is real, tangible, and worth celebrating. Every step you take, no matter how small, is a sign of your resilience and determination to keep moving forward. Don't let the fear of imperfection stop you from trying. Don't let a misstep convince you that you failed. Progress doesn't require you to get everything right. It just requires you to keep showing up, keep learning, and keep striving. The beauty of progress is that it honors your humanity, your effort, and your ability to rise above even when the road is hard. Remember, perfection is a destination you'll never reach, but progress is the journey you're meant to embrace. Keep moving, keep growing, and trust that every step, no matter how small, is leading you closer to the person you're meant to become. Let go of perfection, celebrate your progress, and keep going, because forward is forward, no matter how imperfect the path.